So how do you typically use these? Well, all you have to do is create your first schema by going to create schema on the top right. You could either use a template, which there's only 3 of today: IT assets, people, or facilities. And again, I'm pretty anti-templates generally, but if you haven't used assets before, try one of these out, see how Atlassian intends you to use assets before you jump in kind of head first, just to get a little bit of an idea of how these work. So you choose your template or you create blank. In this case, I'll call this one hardware new, just to make sure it doesn't conflict with my other hardware one. It's going to give you a schema name, a key, very similar to a space, and we'll go ahead and create this. So here's our hardware new, completely blank, nothing in here from scratch. We'll add a new object type and call this one, let's say laptops, and we'll give it a little icon of laptop. We could create another one immediately, and let's create monitors, also very common. Do we have a monitor in here? We do, perfect. And then we'll go ahead and leave those 2 as is for now. So we have our object types, but we don't have any objects yet. So let's go ahead and start populating our laptops with each individual laptop that we have. Real quick, I know this looks like a lot, and if you'd rather just have me and my team help implement exactly what I'm showing you in this video, that is exactly what we do. If you're interested, hit the first link in the description below. So we could create an object, we could give it a name, let's call this laptop 001. Keeping things very basic, right? And you could go through, just start populating these over however you'd like. We could go in and create laptop 002, 002. There we go. We can keep populating these. But what I'd do first is actually add in all of your context fields or sort of your custom fields inside of assets before doing this. And to do that, all we have to do is go over to our attributes tab. And then here we can create new attributes. I don't know why they're called attributes. I think that was just the terminology they've used from the start when assets was acquired, and still attributes, but basically these are just fields. Basically kind of like custom fields in Jira. That's what attributes are. And all we have to do to create a new one is add in a name. I'll do serial number. Serial number. I cannot spell. There we go. And then we're going to give this a type, which could be, your default, which is your text, your booleans, your numbers. Let's go ahead and make this one an integer, which is just numbers. And then you have a few other options, things like objects, status. Let's go ahead and create a status as an example. So we'll add one more and name status. We'll give it a status type and click add. There we go. And now we could go back to our objects. And in here, now we have our options for serial number. And we could type in whatever we want in here as a number. We can't type in a letter. If we try, it's going to say, nope, we can't, only numbers. And then for status, instead of it being a free text field or a number field, it's an actual status dropdown that gives you the ability to say, okay, this is either active, inactive, in the shop, needs to be repaired, whatever status you want to attach to it. And that's really it when it comes to assets. It's really as simple as this. You go in, you create your first schema, you start creating your individual assets and your objects and your object types, and then you start populating it with all of your fields, your context, your information, and everything else. Now, this is really great in and of itself, and it's cool because you can obviously have sort of everything under one roof of Atlassian, but there's a lot more to this. There's asset relationships, which is absolutely massive. There's custom fields, which can actually bring assets directly into Jira. And then there is the automations as well. So you could update assets directly from within Jira, or vice versa, update Jira directly from an asset. So you could use different triggers, you could find different assets, associate different assets, and you create those cool relationships and triggers and all that. And we'll cover some of this in the automations just by using assets in and of itself. And for example, we can have an end user submit a request to your IT team to get some kind of support for their laptop. What we could do with an automation is find the exact laptop that user's using, link it over to that ticket, create that relationship, surface some of the relevant information that the IT agent might need to know, like when the laptop was purchased, any recent history or problems it's had, the serial number, the type of laptop it is, like whether it's Apple, Windows, whatever, and all of that context without going to search for it in the actual assets directory or in an entirely separate assets tool. So before I jump into kind of what that link looks like in Jira, one thing I want to show is the relationships between assets, because this is probably one of the more powerful things that we have available to us. So in order to initiate this, all we have to do is go over to our hardware new, the one that we set up, and this is pretty much set up as an attribute. So we go into attributes, we'll create a new attribute here, we'll call this owner. Let's say we want to bring in someone who is the owner of this laptop. And instead of the type being default or status, we're going to go with the object option. And in here, we're going to select which object or object schema we're pulling in. In this case, we want the people. So that's this one right here. And then we're going to select the type of link that it's going to be. So I'll just do a basic link, but you can actually create custom links if that's something you did want to do. And now I'll head back to my object. And instead of a number field, an integer, a status, now we could pull in actual specific people from the other schemas. I think I set something up wrong here. Let's take a quick peek at the people schema. People, did I pull in the right one? People, update, there we go. People, link, let's go to objects. Let's see if it shows up in the dropdown. I think I have Alana in there. There we go. And now I could put in Alana, and now I could set Alana as the owner. So very, very cool, because this isn't just a text field that says Alana Grant. This is another object inside of my asset schema that has its own object page. So if I click on this, it'll take me to Alana Grant, which has her own object. She was pulled in from a directory. We could see which organization she's part of, leadership team she's in, who the approver is, phone number, job role, title, region, location, office, start date, t-shirt size, everything that's associated with this particular individual. And on the right side, we have every single linked asset or linked object associated with Alana Grant. So this is why this is so powerful, because it's not just general text and information, it's actual relationships being built within these assets. And if I look in here, you should be able to see this laptop 001 as a link on the right side. And again, I could flip back and forth, see both of them, see linked items here, and it's super cool because I could then go into this object graph, and that'll show me all of these relationships and how they interact with each other. So we have Alana Grant in here. I could see all the relationships on different levels. I only have one reference depth. If I go to 3, it'll get a little crazy, but we could take a look at that as well. And we could see a whole kind of chart of everything that's happening and how all of these assets are interconnected, what's linked to what, what's associated with what, and how those relationships exist and work with each other. So real quick, I've implemented Jira for over 200 companies. By far, the #1 reason teams reach out to us is because they built what they thought was a great solution, only to realize that nobody actually ended up using it. And if that sounds familiar, that's exactly what we help you fix. We're currently taking on new projects 4 to 6 weeks out. And if you want help implementing Jira in a way that your team will actually use, hit the first link in the description below.